Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so let's see. I think I want to try to do predictions, man, because we got the playoffs coming up very soon. Even though I haven't done the homework, I really haven't. Now, my predictions have been trash in the play-in tournament. I'm 1-3 in the play-in tournament. Things that I thought was going to happen or was betting on happening was the opposite. So now I'm second guessing myself in a way. But like I told you guys, I ain't been really doing a lot of homework on some of these teams, man. I haven't paid any attention to the Eastern Conference in months, really. I mean, I just don't care for that conference very much. I'm a Laker fan, and I've been studying a very close eye on us and who we've been playing. So my educated guess isn't as educated as I'd like it to be. So that's my disclaimer. But right now, I want to talk about the Clippers and the Nuggets a little bit. I think that might be the most intriguing series in the playoffs this year. I think it might be. I know a lot of people are excited to see how Luka and LeBron are going to do against Minnesota, Ant-Man. Of course, as a Laker fan, I'm heavily invested in that one. But for me, if I'm being honest, the most intriguing series is this. And the reason why it is because Clippers have been playing so well and the Nuggets just fired their coach. And Nuggets are considered to be a favorite for some reason. Even though they do have home court advantage, that might be the reason. But I just think that the Denver Nuggets right now are in disarray, just like a lot of people do. And I just think it's the absolute wrong time to be facing this Clipper team, which is in the complete opposite of that. They are playing the best ball they've played in years right now. On what, a 9-game winning streak, including taking care of that game against the Clippers that ultimately bought them this spot and sent the Clippers into the play-in tournament. It's interesting, man, because the Clippers, to me, are a team that you never bet on because they always disappoint. And so that's when it becomes tricky for me, because I do think my eyes are telling me to pay attention to the Clippers with a whole lot of confidence that they're probably one of the most dangerous teams going into the playoffs, and that they're healthy as they've ever been. And as long as Kawhi Leonard's looking the way he's looking, you have to consider them a threat to win the whole thing. I've seen James Harden run out of gas too many times around this time of year, and I know his usage is up, so I'd imagine he's about to start running out of gas too soon, somewhere within this situation. But the problem is that if you got a healthy Kawhi going against the Clippers, James Harden can focus on facilitating and maybe hit shots here and there, and they're still dangerous. You got a healthy Norman Powell, which is also something you can't really count on a good portion of the time, but he's healthy right now. So it's like, how much it is just the Clippers being healthy at the right time. And when I look at the Nuggets, when they won the championship, that was the story with them. Most of their players are considered injury prone, and they just so happened to be healthy all at the same time, and the result was them winning the whole thing. So that's the irony of this, in my opinion. Clippers have a lot of depth. You got players like Dunn. You got who else? There's so many other guys. Marshawn Beauchamp is on the back of that bench. Obviously, Zubac's playing some great ball, which is very interesting considering he's going up against Jokic, the best player in ball. You got Amir Coffey, who's been playing great. Derrick Jones Jr., who's a fantastic acquisition for the situation. It's a lot of length, a lot of wing depth, a lot of guard depth. And the Clippers are just flat out a better team right now than the Nuggets are. Having fired their coach Malone, fired their GM, Murray's health has been in question for the last couple months. His whole career, really, but right now he's not healthy. So, Porter's having a bad year defensively, from what I understand. Not really a good year, period, for his standards. Gordon is healthy at this point. We'll see how long that is, because he's had some issues injury-wise as well. So, and then they've gotten some new acquisitions. And the Nuggets, Russell Westbrook, I'm not a believer. Y'all know that. After the Lakers situation, I was done. And that's just what it is for me. But, I like Christian Brown. He's a really good player, athlete. I'm higher on Jalen Pickett than a lot of these folks have been. And listening to them talk about Jalen Pickett, I think he could be a really nice scoring punch for them. From what I understand, maybe a defensive liability. I don't watch him enough to know. DeAndre Jordan going up against the Clippers is always interesting, especially in a playoff situation. Of course, he started his career with the Clippers, had his best years as a Clipper, in my opinion, but won his championship with the Nuggets. So this is an interesting situation. I think the Clippers ultimately have way more depth. They're likely to be more equipped to strategize in a situation like this, given the fact that Malone is out. And of course, the Clippers got Ty Lue, one of the better coaches in all of basketball. So I just think there's a lot of things favoring the Clippers in this situation, but there's one thing that's not. The best player on the floor is Jokic. The best player on the floor is Jokic, and Jokic makes others better. And Jokic is highly motivated to prove to everybody that he can win without Mike Malone. He can coach the team himself, basically. You know what I mean? Like, literally. And so I think a lot of this has to do with how much he can get out of other people, though. He can make plays. He can score, rebound with the best of them. But his production alone is not enough to beat the Clippers. He's going to need to get a lot of help. Now, I know, obviously, Russell Westbrook used to play for the Clippers. Had some good years with the Clippers, 2 years. Had a good playoffs with the Clippers last year. So I know he's highly motivated to play well in this series. But, you know, I don't trust him. I like him as a player who could put pressure on the rim. I like him guarding bigger players at times because he's really strong as a smaller person. He can be very difficult to deal with as a mouse in the house, so to speak. His athleticism is really helpful in the open court, even though he's literally bricking layups and stuff at the end of basketball games. But I just trust his decision-making to be poor. I trust him to play into the hands of the opponent more than not at this point, and I just can't shake that. I can't shake that. I will not shake that. Not as a Laker fan who watched him so closely throughout the 10 years with the Lakers. He did some good things for us. Mostly it was stuff that was regrettable, and, you know, the attitude just further reinforced a bad taste in our mouth. So I think at the end of the day, the Clippers are just in a better position to strategize and to execute than the Denver Nuggets are right now. And if Jamal Murray comes back 100%, I think that could help a great deal because that is a stone cold killer of the highest order. And he could, if he has a great series, can put you away. Really, no matter who you got down there, to be honest with you. But the Denver defense has long been bad this season. And I don't think that you can have a bad defense going up against the Clippers, whose offense is very potent, who's also got an amazing defense this year. In fact, I could argue they're the best defensive team in basketball this year. I could argue that. And with Zubac being as good defensively as he's developed into becoming, in the paint, you got an above average player to throw at the best player in the league. And that's, I think, too much for the Nuggets. That's too much. Now you need Porter to play a lot better than he's expected to play. You're going to need Christian Brown to play a lot better than he's expected to play. You're going to need to get stuff from people like Pickett and some of these other guys on the Denver Nuggets. You're going to need a lot from them to overcome these Clippers, and I just don't think they have it right now. I don't think they have it. Now, that doesn't mean that Kawhi Leonard can't roll an ankle and suddenly be out for the series. That don't mean that James Harden ain't going to go 1 for 5 in some of these games and just completely disappear. It's possible. It's playoff time. This is what we come to expect from these people. You know, I like I said, Norman Powell, I don't trust at all to stay healthy. When he's healthy, he's really good. But he's prone to go down. He's always prone to go down. So it's like a lot of this just has to be about health, in my opinion. Because there's certain things happening with the Clippers that I just don't trust, man. Health-wise, I just don't trust it. That doesn't mean that it's not real and in our faces right now. These guys are healthy, and they're clicking on all cylinders, and they have some new reinforcements defensively that make things very difficult. Dunn, Jones Jr., Zubac, all these guys are very reliable in their own right, to their own respect. And I think that's the strength of the Clippers. Not necessarily the main players, but the role players that they've put on this team are just so much more reliable than mostly what they've had in the past. And that is what makes them dangerous. I call it role player heaven, to be honest with you. They've just done the best job of anybody this year, putting role players on the team. So for me, I think this is a pretty easy bet to say so long as the Clippers remain the way they've been over the last couple of weeks, Denver Nuggets are going to have a hard time. Jokic is a great player. Hey, buddies. What's up? What's up? What's up? Jokic is a great player. The stuff around Jokic ain't all that great right now. And that is really what I'm looking at as a person who's trying to analyze what I want to see in regards to my prediction. I think altitude could play a part in this. I think it could, especially since the series starts and ends there if it goes 7. I think that if the Nuggets are able to steal the games in altitude, they're going to win the series, in my opinion. Problem is, if the Clippers are able to steal games in altitude, they're going to win the series, and the Clippers are just playing better basketball. I wouldn't be overly surprised if Jokic goes for historic numbers in this series, try to supplement some of what's wrong with his team. I almost expect him to have historic numbers in more than one game in this series. Triple doubles, 50 points and stuff like that. I expect it. I think it's required, basically, for him to win games in this series. I don't know that he's not a decent bet to do unprecedented things in a situation like this, because he has the offense to himself. His game is predicated on basically getting easy buckets and making easy passes to others to connect on. He makes other people better in his sleep, and he rebounds well in his sleep. I like Zubac. I watched Zubac's first couple of years, obviously, as a Laker fan. So my understanding of Zubac has to evolve into who he's become. But the Zubac that I remember sound, but not nearly as decorated as he's ultimately become. So I cry ignorant when it comes to Zubac. I just ain't watched enough of him at this level to really be able to tell you if he's a legitimate threat to outplay Jokic on any given night. I don't think so. That's basically what I'm saying. The Zubac I know was strong, but he wasn't as strong as he's become. And so, I think Zubac is going to, like I said, be an above average threat for Jokic, but I still expect Jokic to cook him rather frequently without any trouble. The question is not about whether or not Jokic is going to cook him. It's whether or not he can put Jokic in foul trouble and steal some boards from Jokic. Can you steal some rebounds from him? And that's going to be what it is. Can you outwork him as a younger player? Although I think they're probably the same age, honestly. I'm not really sure. But I assume Zubac's a little younger. Can you outwork him on certain nights? Because if you do your part in that way, you can best believe Kawhi and James Harden and Norman Powell are going to outplay Gordon, Murray, and Porter at this point. You can bet that. And Dunn is going to be a hound on somebody. And so that's really what it is. Can Christian Braun be damn near an all-star level player in this series? Because that could change things if he's playing great ball, hitting 50% from behind arc or something like that. I mean, he's not expected to be a shooter, so I'd imagine he's going to be schemed open at times, but I think that would be a mistake for how well he's been shooting the second half of the season. So Christian Braun is a very important player to pay attention to in this series. And I think he's going to do a lot of damage out there, a whole lot of damage. And another guy that I think is interesting on the Denver side is Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson is a shot blocker, a disruptor, someone who can also hit a corner three here and there, a rebounder. He's going to have to play big. He's going to have to be a legitimate threat, in my opinion, for the Denver Nuggets out there in order for them to have an opportunity to win this series. So make no mistake about it, I don't love this series for the Denver Nuggets, but I'm not ready to write them off as just absolutely not going to be able to bring this thing to 7 games. I just don't know that if it does go 7 games, the Clippers are going to be able to beat them in their own building. Altitude, at that point, you would have taken all of their toughest blows. I think the Clippers need to win this series in 6. I think they need to close it out at home, because if you let that thing go back to Denver, I expect Denver to win that game in altitude with Jokic having the home court and just being the smartest player on the floor. I just think that the Clippers are best if they steal home court early from the Nuggets and then take care of both of their games at home. So my prediction is predicated on how the series goes, because I do not believe this is a 5-game series unless the Clippers jump out on top of the Nuggets early and Ty Lue just completely runs circles around their interim coach over there in Denver. Adelman, I believe it is who they have. So I'm going to say Clippers in 6. I'm going to say the Clippers are winning because conventionally they just have a better team. They have better coaching. They have healthier players right now. So you don't overthink things sometimes when you see that. But the Nuggets have been such a fantastic connective piece down the stretch of basketball games, with Jokic running the offense for them and their players hitting shots. And they have so much experience in these playoffs, being successful as the only NBA champions in this series. Well, the Nuggets have Ty Lue won the championship, but nobody else on that team, to my knowledge, has a championship. So this is a situation where I think the Clippers need to jump out early as the healthier team. Without home court advantage, they need to get them early games in altitude. There's an urgency there for them to steal one or both of those games, in my opinion. Because if you let Jokic hang around and he's able to wear you down, and Russell Westbrook continues to wear you down, that could be a real problem for the Clippers. They can't afford any injuries. We know that. Even though they have hell of a role-playing tandem, much deeper team than the Nuggets, which is another reason why I'm picking the Clippers. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things about this series that I think can go wrong, including the Clippers believing that they're automatically just going to run through the Nuggets with Jokic out there in his prime. That is the best player in basketball, and he doesn't just do it himself. He does it in a way that makes other people better most of the time. You can't put a price tag on what that man does for others, passing the rock and ultimately getting easy buckets in the paint, and from behind the arc, and from the free throw line, and anything else that he does, rebound the ball. So I think if he's playing at an historic level, he gives his team an opportunity to win. If he falls off in any way on that type of production, I think the Clippers could potentially take this series early. He needs to be his best. Problem is, I think he's a great bet to be his best in a situation like this. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I've been wrong about everything else, so I don't doubt I'm probably wrong about this. There's a world where the Nuggets win this series, but I'm picking Clippers in 6. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.